all these things, even in my business, started because of my football connections. With help from my football connections. So, without football, I would have not been like this. Maybe, at the moment, I really felt that I had to do something for football.
It's a landmark moment here on Across the Line for us as we get an opportunity to speak with the Philippine Football Federation President Mariano Araneta, better known as Nonong Araneta. In this conversation, we get a chance to really dig into his long-standing history with the game of football, growing up in Barotac Nuevo, going to school in UP, and racking up 11 titles along the way, playing for the national team. And we also talk about his presidency, how it went about, and his plans for the future, the challenges that he's faced, and the current situation that we're in right now with COVID-19 stopping football operations all over the world and here in the Philippines. But there are things to be excited about, and we get an opportunity to talk about everything on this show. So I hope you like it. I certainly enjoyed the conversation. And if you do enjoy this chat, please do subscribe to the show on YouTube, Spotify, and on Apple Podcasts. Don't forget to rate and review, and to find us on social media for all the updates. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, and on Twitter. Without further ado, it's Nonong Araneta here on Across the Line. Good afternoon, Sir Nono. Welcome to Across the Line. How are you doing today?
I'm fine. It's the first day of the GCQ, so some restrictions have been lifted. So it's easier to move around, and now we can play golf.
That has been the biggest positive for a lot of people. They've been waiting for that one for a long time, my father included. So glad to have you on the show. Actually, this is the first time that I'm going to get an opportunity to speak with you. Although we've been around in the same community for the last 10 years, finally we get a chance to chat. So this is an honor for me and for everyone here.
The pleasure is mine too, Jing.
So first thing I wanted to ask you, right? I've been doing a little bit of research on you and your career, and I've been very impressed with your capability to juggle so many different responsibilities, not just today as president of the Philippine Football Federation and as a business owner, a family man. There's seemingly more hours in the day for you than others. How do you manage to keep your energy level so high?
Well, of course, you have to get enough sleep. So 6 hours, so 5 to 6 hours is enough at the moment, And that kind of routine has been with me ever since I was playing, because most of the practices that we have was at 6 o'clock in the morning, very early, when there were no lights yet, on most football fields, So, and for my business, we have people that are also running it. So I'm just there if I'm really needed. So, as in football, also, in the PFF on a day-to-day basis, the chief operating officer is our general secretary who handles the day-to-day affairs of the federation, and I go to the office, maybe 3 times a week right now. But because of the lockdown, so I cannot go to the office. But given the time, so we have a structure that can run the organization, and as in any organization, you empower your people to your staff or your officers to run the corporation with your guidance, As for the my job with the international federation, the FIFA, our meeting is only every quarter, and we usually also communicate by email. And at the moment we're not allowed to travel, so it's more on the Zoom meeting, or even our Congress in Addis Ababa is cancelled in September. It's going to be a virtual Congress. I don't know how the FIFA will do it.
Strange times.
Yeah. For Asian football, I'm also a member of the executive committee. So our meetings are also every quarter. and and as chairman of the finance committee of the AFC, we meet, more or less 5 to 6 times a year. And I'm not in the operation. We're just there to look at the policies that they want us to approve for the executive committee. So I'm just busy probably at before this, just for, let's say, for finance, the finance committee. We usually have a workshop, let's say in November, to discuss about the budgets. But usually the budget's already discussed for the next 2 or 3 years. But nevertheless, we also do review every, maybe in November, if there are budget that we have to approve again. That was not in the program of work of the AFC. So those are the things that I usually do. And for the ASEAN Football Federation, the same. Every quarter meeting, and even I'm a member also of the finance committee of the ASEAN Football. So that's on a quarterly basis. And mostly these meetings doesn't last for a day, maybe 2 or 3 hours. So you can fly in, fly out, wherever the meeting is. So, it's just, you have people that are helping you around. You have your colleagues to help you. So that's how what's the situation is now. Yeah.
So just a matter of compartmentalization and making sure that you're abreast at all times, not so much the day-to-day. I see.
Yes,
I see.
Communications is easy now. You have the Viber, you have WhatsApp, you have everything, you have email. So any time of the day, you can be reached.
Now, when you were younger, as a football player, you were in a situation where you were juggling a lot of things, where this time maybe the time wasn't such a constraint. Before, when you were a player, as you said, you had training in the morning, but you were also playing two sports. You were playing football and basketball, and you were also taking a civil engineering course. So there's a lot going on there. How are you able to manage that?
Again, our football practice is in the morning, and when I was a student in the UP, usually the UAAP season for basketball is in the first sem, and the football season is the second sem. Except that in the first sem, we have I'm also a member of a club team in football. So the practices in basketball is from 4 to 6 in the afternoon, and 4 to 6 for football in UP. It's 4 to 6, and then after that you go to the gym to practice basketball 6 to 8. So it's a 4-hour practice.
Wow.
And after that, you still have to study. So you just have to be fit.
It's incredible. How were your grades? Okay naman.
If you look, I don't want to discuss about my grades, but fortunately, I was able to finish my studies. Not on the 5-year term, but more or less more than 5 years.
But it was a glittering career. You had
it was great.
You had 3
But you were allowed to
titles
play
in
sports.
football. Is that correct? 3 titles in football. And what about in basketball? Did you guys also win titles in the UAP?
UP, we only won in 1986 when I wasn't a player anymore. But I was a member of the coaching staff in the 86 of UP.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
So
With Jolipa. Yeah.
You coached also basketball. I did not know that.
Yeah, and I coached one game only because Jolipa and Mon Bernabe, who was the coach and assistant coach, were in I think in Korea for the Asian Games. So I coached one game. I think that was our last game against Adamson, and fortunately we won. So and we qualified for the finals.
Oh wow, that's quite an achievement. So you were also playing club football. Was this during while you were in college also?
Yeah, before. Yeah. But in our football, like UP, if you have practice in the clubs in the morning, usually club practice in the morning, then our coach doesn't allow. We only have to join the scrimmage. No more physical conditioning because that's already done in the morning. So we adjust. So he also adjusts our practices. Even when I was also playing for the national team. I still a student at UP. I was playing for the national team. I practice also in the morning for the national team in football. So our coach also adjusts. Yeah.
It's incredible. You're involved in just about every level of football there. In the club team, you played for 3 different clubs and you won 8 titles.
Yeah, I think for UTEX 1,
Yeah.
CDCP 1, and for Air Force 6 times, I think. Yeah.
What was the setup
National
like
League, yeah.
for the National Football League? Just so that I can paint a picture in my mind of what it was like. How many teams were involved and what was the scope of the competition?
Well, there were here in Metro Manila, there were about 7 teams.
7 teams?
All the houses, and we have the San Miguel. We had San Miguel Corporation. We have Irason. What were the other teams? Of course, UTEX was there. And so that's 7. Here in Metro Manila, and we have the Metro Manila League. We have the Cup, and then the champion of the Metro Manila League represents the national Metro Manila in the National League competition.
Oh, wow.
So there are
there were
leagues also in the Visayas. Yes, these are all but these were not club teams, let's say like a provincial team or a city team. No, it's not a club competition. So it was more of a regional competition. Where in Metro Manila, the champion of Metro Manila represents Metro Manila. So play against Bacolod, get to play against Davao, Iligan, Dumaguete, Iloilo,
nice.
Baguio. So yeah.
So when you play in the
but
national
it was
league,
more.
Sorry, how many games would you play throughout the season? Would you say?
Well, here in Metro Manila, it was a single round robin. So maybe here 18 to 7 games. In the main competition, which is the National League, there will be semifinals and finals. That's the format. So maybe in the league, it's only about 15 games.
Mm-hmm.
Or something like that.
But wow, still getting exposed to all regions as well. That's
international competitions. But in Metro Manila, we had several competitions. I think we had 3. There's a open, there's a league, or something.
Oh, so busy season, huh?
Yeah, NCR. Yeah, at that time, and we only play in UST or that. Yeah,
I see. So when you win 8 titles, I'm interested to know. I'm not sure kung you've been watching also The Last Dance, which has been so famous on Netflix recently. Michael Jordan won 6 titles, but he wasn't a very good loser. Were you the same? It seems like you're just a perennial winner all throughout your college career, your club life. When you're losing, what's your demeanor like?
Well, it's a game that anyone. It's a ball game. The ball is round. Anyone can win the competition. We had one before. We had one competition where in our first game we beat our opponents. I think 4-0. So we're so relaxed, and they beat us 4-0 the second game, and they beat us in the penalty shootout. So, but it's a game. So. And during my time with UTEX, we won. And then the second, I played for UTEX. We won the National League. The next year, I transferred to CDCP because the practices for CDCP was in the evening, and I was working that time already. So it was more convenient for me to practice at night. So UTEX practices in the morning. So I said, I practice in UP, and my work was in Makati. So I said, I told the coach, Even if I had to take a salary, I mean an allowance cut at the time. In UTEX we were paid already so much, but in CDCP when they started the club, everyone was paid equally. Whether
Oh,
yeah, you're a bench warmer or you're a top scorer, everyone was paid equally. So in the first year, it was okay for me, because for me it didn't matter because I just wanted to be competitive. I wanted to practice more, for football, and the evening practice was very convenient for me because I live in Makati, so I work in Makati, and the practice was in Rizal Memorial. At the time, there's no traffic.
right, right.
But if I stay with UTEX, oh my goodness, you go to UP in the morning from Makati, then you go back to Makati, report for work. So that was very taxing. So, and our first year with CDCP, we didn't win. In our second year, we won the National League. And then that's the time that there was a crisis, financial crisis, and then so I think 83 or the start of 81, there was
Hmm.
CDCP's financial standing wasn't good, so they disbanded the team, and we were made as guest players of Air Force. So Air Force we won 6 straight, so we didn't lose.
That's
And then
incredible.
I retired.
And you were involved also in the national team, right? What position did you play?
Well, locally, first I was playing center forward, in the local competition in UP. And then when I played for the national team, I started as center forward. And then later on, the coach Cotillas told me, You're tall for a player. I need you more in the back than in the front because you don't receive the ball in the front. we defend we defend a lot. So I was shifted from center forward. I became the libero. The time there was a sweeper, what we call
Yeah.
sweeper, the libero. So I that was my position for a long time. And then later on, as you mature, you look at the game, more intelligently. So they put me in the middle field, to as a defensive middle field.
Hmm.
So those were the positions I played.
Which one did you enjoy the most?
Well, I enjoy the defensive middle field because you tend to have a say into dictating the tempo of the game.
Hmm.
Libero, you tend to defend. You're the last defender. So
Hmm.
anyone goes, so anyone who is there, you just cut him off, or whatever you do, so that he won't score. So, but in the defensive middle field, you tend to see the whole. Of course, in the libero, I see everything. I'm the last man of the defense, except of course then the goalkeeper. But in the defensive middle field, then you tend to go more to the offense as well, and in the defense. You have a chance to move a little bit forward. In the libero, you're only limited to a certain point. Because of course, if there's a counter, then the whole defense will suffer.
Hmm. Now, when you scored your famous goal against Japan from 40 yards out, what position were you playing? You were playing from the defensive
I
midfield.
was the libero.
Oh wow! As the libero, huh? You were able to hit that famous goal, and that was for the qualifiers to the Olympics, correct?
Uh, yeah, that was the qualification for the Olympics. Yeah. Yeah.
Would you say that was your fondest moment in the national team?
No, because we were clobbered.
That's true. That's true. The scoreline wasn't flattering at the end.
Yeah. I had some good games with the Southeast Asian Games. Our first Southeast Asian Games in 1977. Well, we beat Brunei, we drew with Indonesia, and we lost to Malaysia in our group.
Hmm.
So that was more or less. And we had in the Asian Cup, although we lost, but the margins were fighting. We were not defensive. We were attacking as well. So those I like that kind of play that we're not just in the defense but also attacking. You know, And that time I was already playing Asian Cup. I was playing the what's this? The defender, but no, middle field, the defensive middle field. So we had some good games. We lost to Syria 2-0. We lost to Indonesia 1-0. We lost to Iran 4-1 that time. I scored a penalty.
Man.
So those were those are the games that I like because you're not always on the defense. You have a chance to attack and you have a chance to score.
When you look back at those days, did you ever imagine that we'd be playing Asian Cup now at the highest level of the Asian game today? Did you see that on the horizon back then?
No, because that time we were called Minos. But things are different now because we have a lot of players that are playing outside, and with Filipino blood. I tell you that most of some countries, even China, are doing naturalization, but at the moment we're not doing naturalization. Even Malaysia has, I think, they have one naturalized player now. But we have players with really Filipino lineage. At least they'll say that I'm part of the team that where my mother comes from or where my father comes from. Yeah.
So how long was the career all in all? How many years did you play?
I sorry, I cannot remember. I don't remember how many. But that time, we didn't really have so many tournaments. Unlike now, there's a World Cup qualifier. There's a Suzuki Cup. There are friendlies. That time, you only of course the Asian Cup, and that's only 8. If we are 6 to a group or 4 to a group, only 3 games or 5 games.
Right.
And then we usually go to the President's Cup, Merdeka Cup, all this cup. There's no that time it was each country's tournament. So if we don't get invited, then you don't get to play for 1 year. You don't get invited, so you have no cup for 1 year. But now, there are FIFA friendlies. There are FIFA tournament, AFC tournaments. That's every year. There are FIFA dates that the national team plays.
Right.
I think in a year, I think there are how many dates? I think 5 months or 6 months that there are FIFA dates, and the national team plays. Twice every FIFA date. So that's about 12 games. Aside from those games that are not put in the FIFA calendar or the AFC calendar, like the AFF calendar, ASEAN. So you get a lot of time. You have a lot of time to play. A lot of opportunities to play.
I suppose you're a good person to ask this because you did play multiple sports, right? So there, in terms of competition or love for competition, you were able to sample it in different many ways. But why football? Why in particular did you fall in love with football more than other sports?
Well, probably because of also if you look at the way you play, in basketball that time, I was not a top player in the collegiate or whatever. Of course, but I played for UP. I was the team captain, and then I was taken by Mariwasa Honda that time, because the coach of Mariwasa Honda was my coach in UP, Felipe Fajardo. She told me to join the Mariwasa Honda. That time there was a farm team. We were allowed to practice. And then and then I was invited to play already for the Honda team. That was for the Invitational. That was 1975.
Was that here in the Philippines?
Here in the Philippines. Mariwasa Honda. That time it was Mika.
I see.
No, there was no PBA. So that time there were Mika, Eco, Mariwasa. I think San Miguel was there. That was it was the commercial league here in Metro Manila. And this Toyota, the time there was Toyota. So 19, in 1974, I started playing for the university, 75. So the coach told me, I want to get you for Maribasa. And that time, there was no drafting. There were no drafts because it's Mika. So what was done before was they have a farm team. So they give us salaries or allowances just to be in the farm team. But since my coach was the coach of Mariwasa, so he always tells me, okay, come on, you go with me, you join me the practice. So that in case there's a tournament and you're ready, you can play with us. So that time, 1975, there was a Mikaa Invitational. So I was already part of the team. He told me, okay, you're part of the team already. You can play already for the main team, for the first team. And I had my uniform, Honda uniform. So I was so proud. Oh my goodness, I'm playing for the commercial team, like that. Then just before the start of the invitational, they canceled the invitational because they wanted to start the PBA.
Oh no!
That was 75. So that time, the Mariwasa team, June Papa was there, Epoy Alcantara, those legends before. Ernie De Leon, who used to referee now who was one of the referees in the PBA. Our import was Cisco Oliver. So I still remember all my teammates like Hubert Filipinas. And we had one player, Luke Dakula. He changed his name to Luke Dator. So that time, but so switch to PBA. So my coach told me, Feli, the late Feli Paro was a great coach, asked me, you want to turn pro? So I said, no. I said, no, coach. I want to finish my engineering. I said, I want to finish my studies. So I just decided to play now football. And of course, I still played for the university. And after that, when I graduated, so I was working in Makati. I joined the CDCP group, the corporate planning, and I was playing for inter CDCP. We have the company-wide basketball tournament, and we had a PBA team that time.
Oh wow!
CDCP team. And when I was playing in the competition, the CDCP competition, the coach of PBA, CDCP, Nick Jorge, who knows me because he's a UP player there before also, and the coach for PSBA. And we always play against PSBA, UP PSBA. So I played and he said, he had seen me and said, oh, you joined our PBA team.
So you still made it to the pros?
I said, okay. So I practiced with them, and I was in the roster, but I realized that, in the PBA, you cannot work anymore in the company because our practice was twice a day. So my work, I had to forgo my work, but I said, I like my work, and I don't think that I'll go far in the PBA.
So you like both sports equally. It's just a matter of football was more.
I said, I go far in the PBA. I said, no, okay. I don't want to sign a contract. And that was my biggest mistake, actually. You know why, Jing?
Why?
It was a 3-year contract. But after the first year, if I signed it, after the first year, the team was again disbanded because of the financial situation. I could have received my salary for 3 years. But anyway, so I decided to just stick to football and my work.
I see.
That's how it came to be.
So you're just a sporting man from the very beginning. I mean, you were born in Barotac Nuevo, which is largely considered where the football capital of the Philippines. So many great players come out of Barotac Nuevo, and I'm sure usong-uso sa inyo is just playing every day football. I mean, it's very famous over there. Was it the same way during your time?
Yeah, elementary. I was in elementary. After school, we just play 5-a-side. Our goal was our sleepers because we were not wearing shoes no uniform, just wear your slippers, go to school. So we make a goal out of our sleepers. Then we just play 5 by 5, 5 against 5. And that's
I,
every day.
I was always so curious. Bakit in Barotac Nuevo, in particular, football was so famous? Do you know the history behind that?
Well, they say that there were some players here in Metro Manila, that were playing in UST during the Spanish time or something like that, and they for football to Barotac. So
Right.
that's how it was just the sport because the time there was no basketball, just football. Only when the Americans came or and became famous. But that time football was already played there, and we have Spanish schools in Iloilo, like San Agustin, the Agustinians. So football was also their sport. So some players were like my father. He studied in San Agustin and was playing football,
I see.
and it came to the point that the armed forces were during the time long before the armed forces were recruiting players already in football. So there was a lot of football players from Barotac that were recruited by the armed forces, Air Force, Army. That time, the Army team was maybe 80% Barotac, from Barotac. So, and I was 6 years old, maybe I was 7 years old, I was growing up. And every fiesta, we have a town fiesta on June 13. Before the town fiesta, maybe 2 weeks before the town fiesta, we have a tournament, which all the army players come, Air Force players, Navy players. We have the selection from Barotac or older, elder brothers or uncles, and we used to watch that. So every year, that's that's what's happening. A tournament before the fiesta, and then for us, when we were as midgets, we were called midgets before. We have a tournament, a summer tournament. We have a December tournament. So we have football all year round.
I see.
It's not then we play in the schools like that, and we play against. So it became so popular. That one time I was in the national team. I think 7 of us were from Barotac.
So the competition, the competition was the one that
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
drove the level of play. So when those big tournaments came around, June and then at the end of the year, how often were there fights? Were there? Because pag mga nakikita ko yung mga taga Barotac Nuevo maglaro, it's always so intense. The physicality, grabe.
Because the crowd also. The crowd is so intense. The crowd will boo you or will curse you if you don't play well.
So it's a culture. I love it. Kami in Kaya, of course, we have Joven Bidik on the team.
Yeah,
He's from
Joven.
Barotac Nuevo, and he tells us of some great stories with sila Chiefy Kaligdong back in the day. Konting wager on the games, and then it always gets so intense, even if it's just a casual
Yeah.
game with nothing on the line.
Pick-up game in the afternoon, yung pusahan, suhutan lang. Once you score a goal, the other team will, suhut lang, ganun lang. But a lot of people are watching, even if it's just a pick-up game, So you're
Right.
inspired to play. It's really a crowd also that inspires you. And the Barotac crowd really knows what football is all about. I remember Cotillas was there. Because that time when my father was the mayor, we had a national tournament in Barotac, National League.
Mm.
Barotac hosted the national competitions before. So, we had the crowd. You can just imagine the whole town plaza was full of people. There were even people in the belfry, where the bells of the church is.
Oh
where
wow!
people were watching. So, the crowd, they're so passionate about football. That time, yeah. But now, I don't know what's happening. Maybe it's not as because there are so many distractions now for the kids.
Yeah. In Barotac Nuevo, is it not the same at the moment?
Uh, well, it's still there's still football in Barotac, but we haven't been winning competitions now.
Mm.
Unlike before, it was really the competitions in Barotac the time. Even it's only in the what we call the poblacion, the town perimeter. There's no barangay yet. No, the time no, only the game was played in the town. And we had 7 or 8 teams in the town itself. One street is one team or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah. And we had the midgets, we had juniors, with the seniors. So all categories that time. But now, I don't know. It's there's basketball. There's of course there's a lot of distraction from the kids. There's a computer. There's all these games. So the passion is not there anymore. I know. I mean, the passion has waned. But still, Barotac is still famous for football. Yeah.
How do you think we'll go about revitalizing things like this? Stoking up the passion again for the game, especially in places like Barotac, but also around the Philippines. How do you think that will come about?
Well, the key really is the LGUs. The local government unit. If they're passionate, if they want sports to flourish, then the LGU can do something. Like they say, like for Barotac. Before, during summer, let's say after school, after the end of classes, March to June, we had tournaments. No, all age groups. Okay, not only football. We had baseball. We had
Wow.
basketball. Yeah. So it's really a sporting event for how many months? From March, April, May, June. 4 months is a sporting event every afternoon. In the plaza, there's an event. In the morning, there's baseball. In the afternoon, there's basketball. The football and basketball. So the whole town is geared and sports.
Right.
And December, we have a tournament again. November, December. So you have all the opportunity to play. Now, even sometimes they tell me, oh, we have no league now. It's barangay only. That now it's you really can expand the game, the sport, because even the barangays now are playing. Before, the barangays are only playing basketball and baseball, football.
Yeah.
Only the town proper is playing football. Now, everyone plays football. In the barangays, there's football. So if you really provide the opportunity or a tournament or a league on a regular basis, then you can revive really football. And revive not only football, but sports. I say that, Jing, that, even now, we have lost our maybe for our passion for sports, because in the elementary or what's PE,
Yeah.
in the public education, we only have 30 minutes of PE a
Really?
week.
Is it 30 minutes?
Yeah.
What? Oh no.
So how can you develop sports? How can you develop sports?
That's
So that's
terrible.
what sporting culture is not there.
Yeah.
The children now may more or less play stations or like that than play in the sport, because they don't have the opportunity to play on a regular basis in schools.
Huh. I did not know that. Wow, that's very interesting. Definitely something that needs to be looked at. I mean,
It's not only about football, Jing, but it's about sports.
yeah.
That's why you had a summit. I think last year we had a summit with the PSC or something like that, and that was, I said, how can we have a culture of sports if even in our elementary, even public education, it's only 30 minutes.
That's interesting because we're seeing a drop in levels of attendance. I'm watching also, like the PBA, even in a big semifinal game, maybe if it's not Ginebra, the place is not even half, maybe not even a quarter full, the arenas, So while football's attendance might be down, I'm seeing it across the board. So maybe perhaps things of this nature are contributing to the fact that not a lot of people want to watch these games anymore because the sporting culture has diminished.
Yeah, the interest is not there because like if you're a kid, if you play the sport, then your interest is there. But if there's no chance for you,
Yes.
not all the kids are given the chance to play. So I'm not interested to watch it if I don't play it or something like that.
Makes sense. Yeah, it makes sense. That's definitely something that needs to be addressed. And I guess you're right. The LGUs could be an interesting way to reignite sort of the passion if we can find ways to create competitions and reasons for kids to get involved in these games.
Yeah, yeah.
I
Because,
wanted.
yeah, Jing, come on.
Sorry,
Go ahead,
the
Jing.
connection was a little bit spotty there, but I wanted to move on a little bit into your presidency, right? I mean, obviously, you had a glittering career, fantastic career as a player, collegiate, national team. Went on to even coach the national team at some point. But when we fast forward to 2010, as most people will know you as the president of the PFF, how did that come about? What was the motivation for you to run as president of the Philippine Football Federation?
It's a long story, Jing.
Do you have a short version?
Well, I've been encouraged to run even before 2010. During the time of Araneta, they told me, "Nong, you run. I'll support you." But I said, "No, no. I'm still, I still have a lot to do in as far as my business is concerned, and I just want to be part of the advisory council." And so Johnny Romualdez became president. And after Johnny, I I was also contemplating on running, but I decided to withdraw because some for personal reasons. And so I supported Mari, but unfortunately, the time there was some. After that, the federation was in shambles. So I was part of the what's this board of governors, and in 2000, that's why in 2010 I I was really forced to put myself already there because I saw what was happening in the PFF. Jing, when I took over, the money of the PFF was, I think, $150 in bank account.
Oh, wow. Wow.
So anyway,
$150.
that's water under the bridge. But and we had to do something. I cannot leave football. You know, all these things, even in my business, started because of my football connections. With help from my football connections. So without football, I would have not been like this. Maybe at the moment with my own business and in a comfortable house. But so I really felt that I had to do something for football. So I was egged to run and but that time there was no elections yet. But I think 31 members were really already not so happy with the way the federation was being run because we had some. No, I mean I don't want to mention anymore anything, but uh, that it was time to change for a change. So they decided to nominate me to be president. We had a vote of no confidence, and then after that they nominated me, and I got 31 with two abstentions. So I was lucky because that was, I think, October or November, no, when I
Yeah.
took over,
Yeah.
and then we drew against Singapore, I think.
Yeah. 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 That was the time. And beat
And
Vietnam.
and then there was some. My being president was questioned by the president of the Asian Football Confederation. The time was Bin Hammam. He didn't like the idea that I was the president, the new president. So he had to do some things not to for FIFA not for FIFA not to recognize me. But the election was above board. We had a audio recording, video recording of all the proceedings, and and even everything was in the minutes of the meeting. So why? So FIFA said that because of the influence of Bin Hammam, who was also part of the executive council of FIFA at the time, FIFA said status quo. So, but I said, for me, I think POC already recognized me as the president of the NSA. And what we did was really wrote to FIFA, submitted everything, all the recordings, all the proceedings of the election, and we gave it to FIFA. And the night that we were, that night that we were preparing everything in my house, here in my house, Philippines beat Vietnam. So that's everything just fell into places.
Yep.
And even the players were already, they already recognized me as president. When I went to Indonesia for the semifinals, I wasn't recognized yet by the ASEAN Football Federation. Because FIFA, I wasn't recognized by FIFA, but I was invited to go there.
I see.
So the players were told me, no, sir, you go with us in the bus because you are our president. So
it must have been a great experience, that one.
It was really, that the players really were supporting me. And December that year, FIFA said already issued that already found out, and they said, "You are the president. We recognize you." And the first country that recognized me actually, that sent a representative here in Manila to congratulate me was Japan, because I was very close to Junji, the FIFA council member, and I was the only council member in Asia that was supporting me. Thailand, Qatar, Mohammed bin Hammam, and Korea were not supporting me. But nevertheless, FIFA saw the light of the proceedings that it was all legal. So finally, in January of 2011 was the election in AFC. I was supposed to attend the AFC Congress. I got my visa from Qatar 3 days before Congress. Finally, when I arrived there, Bin Hammam, he saw me in the lobby. He said, he apologized. He said, "Oh, my brother, I'm sorry. I've been mean to you." That was his word. "I've been mean to you, but I supported my friend, was the former president, and I'm sorry that I did that, and I didn't know that what was really happening in your country." So he said, "Can we let bygones be bygones?" I said, "No problem, Mr. President." I said, "My election has got nothing," because they thought that the election in the Philippines was connected to the election in the AFC. Because votes, of these votes. But I said, no. Our election in Philippines got nothing to do with the election here. So, and then I realized that everything went well. So they supported us. So that was the miracle in Hanoi. So everything went well. It's providential that when the time that I stepped in, football became so popular. So it was at the beginning, it was easier for me, of course, because there's the momentum of football. So that's how it started, really, Jing.
Yeah, that's perfect timing, perfect storm, so to
Yeah.
speak. You what happened there, but now you're at the helm of the PFF. Obviously, there was a lot of controversy surrounding the previous administration. What was the biggest challenge for you that you faced upon acquiring that role?
Well, the biggest challenge was finance, uh, and how to run the organization without money.
How did you do that?
For a while, we were advancing the money, until
Mm,
for a while we were advancing the money, and I was lucky also that after that, then FIFA decided to have all this FIFA Forward program. AFC decided to have this because the AFF, Asian Football Federation, had the Suzuki Cup, and we
mhm.
decided to give in administration money. AFC also, so we had now the money to run the administration in the organization. So that really solved the problem. It's really timing. When you needed it, it was there coming. So
Yeah,
it's God's will. It's God's help. It's God's help. Yeah.
everything in the right time, huh?
Yeah, yeah.
So I got a question. If you could close your eyes and remove all the factors involved in Philippine football at the moment, and you could just envision what it would be like if it was your perfect picture of what Philippine football could be, what would it look like to you? What would encompass the landscape of Philippine football if you could have your way completely?
Well, we have a league in every province. You know, uh, we have not only the provincial leagues but also school leagues. That will it's a youth league. And we have the under 15, 17, under 19 league, national league, and a stable professional league.
Yeah.
That will be the perfect, scenario for football here. And of course, crowd, a lot of crowd.
That's crucial.
Yeah.
And of course, the national team.
Yeah.
How do
The
you
national
foresee
team,
things
of
with them?
course, doing well. Well,
Has there been anything
winning one trophy.
Suzuki Cup, Asian Cup, anything? As long as we start with one
Yes.
trophy.
Come again, Jing.
Asian Cup, AFC Cup. Sorry, Asian Cup,
We start
Suzuki
with
Cup.
Suzuki Cup.
Let's start
We
with
start with
Suzuki Cup.
Suzuki Cup. One cup up at a time.
Has there you're now in an unprecedented third term as the president of the PFF. Has there been anything surprising for you over the course of your tenure?
Well, you know, it's just sometimes it's just frustrating, that we don't get enough support from the government. As far as of course PSC, we get what we call support, but it's not enough. Because they say, oh, you have a lot of funding from your federations. So just surprising also that not a lot of companies are supporting really sports, not only football. Maybe there's volleyball, there's sporting volleyball, but not football.
Mm.
We're in, all over the world, companies are scrambling to get a slice of the World Cup, get a slice of the Asian Cup, or the slice of the sponsorship. And that's what we want to see in the future. That more companies probably will support football, and we hope that with the Qatar Airways coming in, the other companies locally will also see the light that football is the number one spectator sport in the world, and Filipinos are built is really for football, and if given enough support, then we can produce good football players, and we have football players who are with Filipino lineage are playing worldwide in leagues abroad, like Neil, all these things that can really make our national team a strong team. I saw the game of Paderborn last night, Bundesliga. Paderborn against Dortmund. Yeah, I just watched the first half, and Jerick Holtman is 25 years old, number 33, left winger. His mother is Filipino.
How did he play? How was he?
Oh, he was he was a good player. He's a good player. You're in the first team of a Bundesliga first division team. So you must have, so we have all these players that are that are playing there, that if we have strong support for our national team and for our professional team, for our amateur leagues, then really football will really flourish. You're talking about in a game you have 22 players, so 22 active human persons, playing at the same time.
Yeah. So would you say that's the biggest challenge at the moment, being able to drive commercial support for football right now?
Yes, that's our biggest challenge. Marketing probably.
And of course, because of the whole situation with this pandemic, then it's added a little bit more strain to that challenge.
Yes. Especially with our league has been stopped right now. Has not started. But Jing, we submitted the protocols yesterday, last Saturday to GAB, and they're supposed to present our safety protocols to IATF today. For a proposal for the clubs to start training. So hopefully, I don't know what will how IATF will look at it, but we're praying that they look at it favorably and allow the teams to start training. We have some safety protocols already in place, and we say that the training sessions will only be in Carmona.
Mm-hmm.
So GAB, under the leadership of Chairman Mitra, is very supportive of us. He even called me last Friday. He said, "No, where's the protocol? I'm supposed to submit it to IATF."
It's good to see they're following up.
Yeah, and I hope that they will allow football to start practicing, and so the other sports can also, and start. And last week, I think we had a meeting with 7 NSAs, basketball, rugby, gymnastics, volleyball. What else? I forgot. So we had a meeting. Karate was there, and we just exchanged notes actually, and we told them that we're preparing our protocols, and FIFA had, they came out also with the risk assessments before the start. So we incorporated that in our safety protocols, and hopefully, and Vietnam. Have you heard the news in Vietnam?
Oh, I saw the crowd
playing to a capacity crowd. Huh? No social distancing. It's in the stadium.
I saw. Crazy. Over 10,000 in the crowd.
Hopefully with that, then So with that, hopefully we can start the league, and I'm not surprised if it's gonna be it's gonna be hard to get corporate sponsors at this point in time. We're just happy that LBC is there supporting Kaya.
Yeah.
So, and the other companies. So hopefully that maybe next year it will be better, with Qatar Airways coming in, for a 3-year contract. And I hope that the sponsor for the national team, will push through even with this with this lockdown. Hopefully the principal will still continue, and we have a lot of plans, and a lot of players are in the pipeline also who are interested to play.
Mhm.
So even not for this World Cup qualifier, but for the Asian Cup qualifier, hopefully we'll get better players, for the national team. Yeah.
Oh, we
And
actually
we
had
started,
a. Oh, go ahead.
Jing, we have started with ADT,
Yes, yes.
the development team, under 22, join the league.
Yep, yep.
So that's where the future Azkals will come from also.
We actually
Local
had
Azkals.
Scott Cooper on across the line not too long ago, and we got an opportunity to talk about all of these players in the pipeline and homegrown players as well that he's very excited about. And personally, I was very excited to see ADT play in the league, as
Yeah.
it would be an opportunity for a lot of casual fans to get on board with the league as well. Of course, they get a chance to measure and get a gauge of just how good teams like Stallion are, or just how good teams like Ceres and Kaya are. They have a basis for that by watching the ADT.
Yeah. So we're really supporting the PFF, supporting the ADT. And
Yeah.
in my own capacity, I'm supporting it. With Dan. Yeah.
So right now, what are you most excited about? Obviously, these are the challenges in place, but what are you excited about looking forward for the PFF
Well,
and Philippine football?
at the moment, I'm excited in starting the league.
Everybody's
No,
got their fingers crossed.
start the training first. We're saying, please allow us to train for 1 month. You know,
Mhm.
and if there's no case, then maybe we can start the league. Okay. Of course, we're looking forward to the Suzuki Cup in November.
Right?
Uh, and then we have our World Cup qualifier in October and November. And
Mhm.
if things are not yet, if they still don't allow us to play here in the Philippines, then we can play in a neutral venue because we have two home games. We have Guam and Maldives. And our away game, which is the last, I think, is China,
Yep.
in China. So we still have 3 games. So these are the things that we have to look forward to. And of course, if they will allow football to be played again in not only in Metro Manila but in the provinces, we have in the pipeline also the under 17, under 15, and under 13. So these are the youth tournaments that we're supposed to start this year, but
Mhm.
unfortunately we didn't start. So, and Scott is aware of this, and so I told Scott, as soon as we can travel, then we'll have a football conference in Mindanao to tell them what's in store for the PFF in the next 4 years. You know, what's our technical direction? What's the direction for the national team? And then it has to be attended by the FA presidents and coaches that they will recommend to be part of the training this pool of players in the future, so that they
Mm.
will understand the philosophy that we want to instill in the players, in the coaches. So these are in the pipeline. So I'm excited about these things that are going to happen because it's now we have to consult the local FAs because we need their inputs on these new programs of the PFF.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are conversations that we're having all the time on the podcast with individuals who are very excited about the potential of a long-term sort of goal, more of a long-term approach to how we're going to play the game and where we're going to be 5 years down the road. So all of these things that you're telling me, uh, this is great news for me and great developments to hear about.
Yeah. So also, of course, the support for our women's football is there.
Mm,
We have a women's league, and
yes.
then they're supposed to host the ASEAN Women's Championship.
Unfortunately, this year,
Yeah, so we have the support for women's football, and I say that it's just unfortunate that we lost one player.
yeah,
Bea Luna, and we pray for the repose of her soul. And our our sympathies are with her parents. With the family.
extremely tragic news. Just 16 years of age.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, as you mentioned, so many things in the pipeline. Hopefully, this pandemic will subside sooner rather than later. We can all get back to some sort of regular programming. But it's been incredible speaking with you and getting an opportunity to rehash and reminisce
One
on
more
your.
thing, I think. I'm also excited to start our new building, the new headquarters.
Is there a new
We have
building?
we have the plans already prepared. We have the lot, but because of the lockdown, AFC is financing the purchase of the lot. So now we're just waiting for AFC to send the money for the lot purchase in Carmona.
Uh-huh.
It's a 4,000 square meter property. So the building plans, I already approved it, and the construction of the building will come from a FIFA4 program, which we haven't utilized the part of the infrastructure. So I'm excited to start the new headquarters of PFF, wherein it will house also not only our headquarters, but also our dormitories for men and women, boys and girls. Yeah.
And the training center is there already. So
So the lights are there. It just have to be energized. So everything is going into plan as planned. That we'll have maybe in the future we'll have most of the things there with the national team pool in Carmona with the lights, with the dormitory. So we really can do a lot in the facilities.
when do you foresee that finishing?
Well, if AFC will release the funding now this June, then we can start the bidding. The plans are already being finalized. Hopefully, it will be done also this June. Well, we start July or August, and maybe next December we'll be in the new headquarters.
Oh wow, that fast! 2021, we might have.
Yeah, it's a four-story building only. It's a four-story, but the foundation is good up to 6. But we'll just construct a four-story building first.
Okay, things to be excited about on the Philippine football front. Sir Nonong, thank you so much for the time and for joining us here on Across the Line. And personally, for me, it's a pleasure to finally be able to meet you and chat with you like this. Hopefully we'll be able to speak in person in better conditions next time.
Yeah.
All right, Sir Nonong, thank you for the time again, and we'll see you next time.
Okay, Jing. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Sir Nonong. If you enjoyed this conversation with the PFF president, please do subscribe to our YouTube, Spotify, and on Apple Podcasts. Don't forget to find us on social media, on Facebook, on Twitter, and on Instagram as well. And that's it for us here on Across the Line. We'll catch you next time.